So today is the Unleashing the Beast, the
Ooh.
Alpha Mentality podcast.
Oh man, I'm
Otis,
excited about that.
How you feeling, man?
I feel good, man. I feel real good. I feel like jumpy, bouncy,
Yeah.
ready to attack a few conversation points and stuff like that. Same time. How you feeling on this this fine day?
Dude, life's great, man. I can't complain.
Can you believe we're starting a podcast?
No, I can't.
That's crazy.
It is crazy.
We thought about this. We've been talking about. You know how most people they say they're gonna do something,
And they never do it.
and then they just keep talking about it at barbecues.
When did we say we were going to start this?
Dude, we've been talking about this kind of vaguely for like the last 2.5 months or something, and it just grew into fruition. And now we are where we are. So, man, welcome everybody. Welcome. We want to welcome ourselves to the world. We have listen. This guy and I, we've known each other for a short amount of time, and it's just been electric. He's my bromance. You my bromance, right?
I believe it.
Okay,
I believe
cool.
it.
Right. So
Don't
my
make me
wife-
start talking into this mic.
Hey, and by the way, you guys are gonna get a great radio voice from him. My face is for radio.
My voice is for radio.
His voice is right. So Jeff Nadal, everybody, welcome. All right, and I am Otis Bird. You guys, we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna be attacking some conversations, right? Really, really deep stuff. No, I'm
Big
just
stuff.
kidding. So if we're new to you, this is the Alpha Mentality. And Jeff, why don't you go ahead and break us in, man? Like the conversation. Where does this come from?
Alpha mentality, man. To be honest, it came from my idol Kobe, right? Mamba mentality. Once Kobe kind of branded that always kind of stuck with me, and I'll never forget when he said, "What really is Mamba mentality is just getting better every day."
Yeah.
Right. So in our eyes, it was kind of one of those things. I actually have a business on the side, right? I train dogs, and I named it Alpha Mentality. Why? Because just training dogs, anything in general, you want to get better each and every day, and you're never satisfied. So that kind of grew into fruition in terms of trying to create a brand, right? What is Alpha Mentality? How can you have an alpha mentality, a mama mentality, a never satisfied attitude every day of your life?
That's really good. I think a lot of us, I mean, just to kind of break it open to people, I think what we're going to be trying to attempt to do is bring value in areas to people in terms of what that actually means. Right. I wish that we had a Webster's dictionary version of what an alpha mentality is, but alpha mentality can apply to anything. I mean, you could be the best mom, have an alpha mentality. You could be the best at, bagging groceries or, a sport you may play, maybe in your faith, your finance, fitness, things like that. And I think just kind of coming up with this concept, I think it's going to bring a lot of light to people. And like, what way do you think that like just the average Joe that they can connect with something like an alpha mentality?
Well, I think just the concept of we're in the trenches with them, right? We're growing just like them. It's not one of those things where it's kind of like, oh, we're already here. No, we're going to grow with you. And over the course of, I think the way this podcast is going to expand, people kind of realize, okay, I remember when they were in the first episode. And then when they get to the 50, like, damn, things changed, But growing with our audience, growing with our viewers, them watching us grow, I think that's going to show exactly what alpha mentality is. It's going to kind of define itself.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think I can't wait till we say episode 100, that'd be kind of cool, right? You guys can kind of keep us to it. We're going to have like some sparklers in the back, right? The fireplace is actually going to turn on in episode 100. So just be ready for that, right? It's a little hot. We're in Southern California right now. So just don't expect that fireplace to be lit up too soon. Right. But again, the great thing about having an alpha mentality is that we're going to help you apply it in many different areas,
right.
In fact, I'm curious, with Jeff, you guys heard that Kobe Bryant, that's his man, rest in peace to, arguably the greatest player ever. We have off camera conversations about this a lot. But Jeff, alpha mentality, that had to stem from someplace. Like, tell us a little bit about like your upbringing, right? I mean, I've grown to know you, and you definitely define what we would consider like an alpha mentality. Right. So add merit to yourself right now, if you can, right? Like, tell us the Jeff biography, right, in a short version.
I mean, the short version is, I guess you could say before Kobe was around, my idol was always my dad, right? So I think he's kind of the perfect definition of what alpha mentality is. He immigrated from the Dominican Republic.
DR.
The DR came here with $500.
Damn.
Right. So really came from nothing. And I saw, as a young kid being in certain meetings that I had no idea what was kind of going on, but the alpha mentality was being in my presence. I was watching it grow in front of my face. We went from Chrysler minivan to a Lexus, a Mercedes.
Damn, I would never drive a minivan, by the way, but
But you know what? What's funny is that growing up, my dad had a factory, right? And on his minivan, he literally had his business logo slapped on the side of him. Right?
No kidding.
It was so embarrassing getting picked up. But thinking back to that, he would always tell me, you shouldn't be embarrassed. You should be proud that, we have a business. And I didn't understand that concept back then. And now I kind of think back to it, like, it's pretty badass.
That's cool. So Dad is obviously a successful entrepreneur. What are some of the traits that he's passed on? I don't know. I guess since the name of our show is Alpha Mentality, what are some alpha traits that you've picked up and just kind of carried on throughout the years to make you, the man that you are right now, being married and being in business right now? You got 2 businesses, a third one on the way. Like, talk to us a little bit about that.
Always being straightforward, right? With clients, knew how to build relationships. I think that's his biggest thing. I still speak to some of his past employees. Obviously, he's retired now, but his business, we still talk to some of his employees that he had because they became his friends, right? I was specifically one person I always remember that I kind of watched my dad groom. He came into my dad's business at 19 years old. The guy is like 40 something now. Wow. To this day, he literally tells me, I am who I am because of your dad.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you got brothers in like that same industry now.
Yeah, right. Yeah, basically, man. So it's kind of one of the things. I think that's kind of what I took out from the most from him. He knew how to treat people, right? His employees really saw him as family, right? He had employees working with him for 25 years, 30 years plus.
Really?
To this day, when he when he actually retired, those employees are still there, right? And some of them, I don't know if they're still there, but he's not there, so
Really,
it speaks to who he is. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. I don't come from like a story like that. I think that's a very fortunate thing because you have a dad and he also has like a mentor at the same time. Right. Was it hard to identify like the difference between like my dad is my dad or my dad is teaching me something? Was there a point to where you came to where you were like, man, my dad is somebody who I can idolize?
You don't realize it growing up probably, right? You're just kind of naive to it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I saw how hard it was for him to, become who he was. He literally would be at work from 4 a.m. till 10 p.m. So it was kind of one of those things where I understood, right? I really got it. And I think now that, I left teaching because I was once a teacher and now started to pursue the entrepreneurship, I realized how much respect I've gained for him because you were able to create nothing into something big.
Wow. That is the true definition of an immigrant's mentality, and that's cool that can translate. So in terms of, like where you are right now, because for the audience, Jeff is he's a very old man. He's in his late 20s. He's in his late 20s, right? So some things that you hope to accomplish, right, by like having listeners and growing with us, and hopefully, by the way, that we can grow with you, right? I'll tell you this really quick, right? We don't hope to gain a dime from what we're doing. We just 2 guys that happen to be entrepreneurs, and it's not we're not specifically aiming this as entrepreneurs. We're just having a conversation so that we can kind of let you in the mindset of somebody who's not too high on the totem pole and you feel like we're unreachable. Right. I got started. I run an organization in the financial industry, and I've been doing that for the last 7 years. And there's some things that I've adapted. But what I'm really curious about, Jeff, is like, from what you've learned and grown from in terms of having the right mentality and the right mindset, like what does a hopeful future look like for Jeff? I don't know. Let's call it the next 5, 6, 7 years, 10 years. If like the way that you want something, how does it look like 5, 10 years from now?
To wake up and see every day as a holiday. Right.
Oh, damn.
One of our mentors literally speaks to this, Dr. Q.
Blank calendar.
Yep. He wakes up with a blank calendar. Every day is a holiday. So that is the dream, to be able to say, what are we doing today?
Yeah. Q is our Mr. Miyagi, by the way. He always brags about his life is so awesome. If he put it on Instagram, he'd have millions of followers, right? And that's a pretty cool way. But he always talks about this thing called you grind in your 20s, build in your 30s so that you could chill in your 40s.
You know what's funny is that's literally his bio on Instagram.
That is?
That's his bios.
Really?
Word for word.
I never even look at his Instagram, right?
I do. I stalk it.
It's funny because he probably has like 17 followers.
Literally. Yeah, he
that,
follows
right?
more people than he has following him.
He
and
does.
if people only knew.
Yeah, he does, man. So there's a lot, what we hope to do as well, too, in the future is maybe you want to tell them about some of the people, we want to bring in and, at some point have a guest. We want to get you guys a little bit more familiar with us so that, we can bring some excitement in your life. We can bring some joy and you can say, oh, man, I can connect to that idiot on the right side of the camera in the white shirt, right? But in terms of what do you hope to accomplish by doing this?
I think helping others who may feel stuck, right? I want to say in December, right? We're in April right now?
Yeah,
in December, I felt stuck.
In what way?
My career, my life, right? I was teaching. And a lot of people don't know this, but I actually had surgery on my toe. I got a little tumor. So I had a lot of time to kind of reflect on, what the hell I was doing. And teaching has always been the passion, right? I loved my students when I was a teacher. I was a special ed teacher for middle school. And I think during that time, I kind of realized that the whole COVID year that happened, a lot of teachers, I don't know if they felt the same way, but I didn't grow, right? No, there wasn't an administration or someone that can tell me, hey, this is the way to do this. Because everyone's trying to tell you, do this, this, and this, but they've never done it. So you kind of feel like you're stuck. And it's like, all right, well, I didn't grow this year. So what's next? So then when I finally had that month off for my surgery, I reflected on my life a lot. And I was like, is this really what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life? Even though it brought me, happiness because I loved my kids, it didn't fulfill me. Because the way I saw it was I was exchanging time for money. I would literally be at work and just think, in between helping the kids when they would be doing the work, I'm like, I could do something else right now.
Let me sit right there for a second. You said something that was if you weren't listening to that, let's bag back. Like, stop, rewind the tape. You said you felt like you were exchanging time for money. What does that mean? Like, describe that to people. Like, just talk straight up to people. Like, you say, I'm giving my time for money. What does that mean?
I would literally be at work think these 7 hours, right? I could be doing this, this, and this that could make me way more money just by using my mind versus just sitting there collecting a paycheck. It was kind of wasted. But not even so much the money aspect, right? Time is money. A lot of people don't realize that saying, right?
True.
So every day that you give up 7-8 hours of your life, you're never getting that back.
Yeah.
Right? You think about the value that has, it's priceless. So if I can have all the time in the world to create the life that I want, why would I not take that and do something worthwhile?
That's a really good point. It's interesting you say that because I had that same feeling, many years ago. I was actually, prior to being an entrepreneur, like, let me just tell this to the audience, entrepreneurship is not easy.
It's not.
It's not hard. It's just that and it's not something you have to be so much passionate about because you can connect the passion to the end route of anything that you want to accomplish, better life, better future, quality, standard, stuff like that. But I think what's important is that you don't have to have an entrepreneurship. You could be alpha at, the CPA firm that you work for,
right,
or, at the bank that you work at, or real estate, whatever that is.
I've seen
right?
teachers that are alpha.
Yeah, dude.
Some badass teachers out there, right? Like when I was teaching, I thought I was pretty good, but I knew there was other teachers that I worked with. I was like, you're great at this.
Yeah. Shout out to my 4th grade teacher, Mrs. Siebert.
You still remember some of your teachers?
Dude, man, I got people like that who've impacted me.
Right.
Because I remember growing up and I remember some of the things that she did, right? And it kind of came back to me later on in life. Because at some point, I said to myself, did I come this far to come this far? I felt like I was just watching my life on an escalator, like every single day. Like, what the?
When did you feel like was kind of your turning point where you're like, I can't do this anymore?
There was many things. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I got a pretty strong personality.
Right.
But I think when my first kid was born, when my daughter was born, she just kind of woke me up, man. Right. I got 2 kids. my daughter Layla, my son Trey, I love them to death. I mean, all parents obviously listening to this should feel the same way. But I remember just kind of like I was never an emotional guy. When my daughter was born, I just like outbursted with tears. You know, she just brought me a lot of joy. But I think she also helped me get like a perspective on life that slowly started to grow, that said that daddy shouldn't be exactly where daddy is, you know. I was exchanging time for money, right? I didn't learn that till later on, you know, reading books, being around different people. But I remember just kind of being full of listening to my bosses back in the day. They would just, you know, boss me around and make me feel minimal to anything that I was doing. And I said, you know what? Enough is enough. There was actually the turning point happened. I watched the movie. You know Pursuit of Happiness?
Yeah, of course.
So that's the Chris Gardner story, and Will Smith, shout out to that heavy-handed guy. He starred in that film, and I remember I know that I was destined for something bigger and better. I just didn't know how to like grab hold to it. So I was watching this movie one night. It was almost like a movie was on me.
Well, I mean, you kind of look like Will Smith, so.
Yeah, I hear that a lot, right? It's funny, I go in different countries. People are like, Will Smith. I'm like, no.
Will Smith or Chris Brown, one of those hit.
Oh, man. He's just going to start naming all of the light-skinned black men. But it's crazy because I was watching this film, and I remember like kind of being stuck. And I didn't have what we're talking about, an alpha mentality.
Right.
I was drifting. But I was drifting into something good. I knew I was on to something because my heart, it started to like attach itself to the things that the mass of people doesn't do. So I remember watching that film. I watched it. And the moment, there was a few scenes that stood out. And I remember like very vividly just waking myself up, like my conscious. It almost like it turned on. And I started filling out a resume, you know, of all things, you know. I was like, man, I'm going to have the best.
Looking for another job?
I was, right? But I was like, there's got to be something bigger and better. And then I got introduced to the financial industry. And, you know, I absolutely, outside of the industry and what we do in the industry is awesome. What I really like is that everything that I've learned, I can now transfer over to people.
Right.
And I think, you know, short amount of time I've been doing what I've been doing, I've had some success. I wouldn't call myself successful yet because, you know, we're still climbing, we're still working. But I think that I've acquired enough skill set to be able to give people maybe a point or two about life and just some things just in general. But I think it's going to help me to help other people.
Right.
You know?
So let me ask you this, because obviously we've been together for, you know, a few months that we've known each other. One of the things that you always talk about is you invest in people. Talk about that.
Yeah. Investing in people. You know, Warren Buffett says that the greatest investment walks in and out of a door every day. And when that falls on deaf ear, you don't really understand that, right? So I can get, you know, let's just give you just a generalized example. We have like, you know, commodities, time, money, stuff like that. And sure, I could grow that, right? But what can grow that is people, right? So in a generalized concept, if you put more people, you know, to work, you know, many hands make light work. But the greatest joy that I get, and I think that everybody, you could probably agree with this, is that there's not a better feeling than when you help somebody with, you don't expect anything in return.
Right.
And then they go off and then they go affect somebody. It's like this commercial I seen was before where somebody like opened up a door and then they showed like the person that was impacted, and then at the end of the day it was like the world was a better place. So I think that when you say, well, when I say, you know, investing in people is so important, all it is just showing compassion, you know, having empathy and caring for people, because you never know what people are going into, you know, what their day is like. You could change them in a way, you know. I mean, think about it. When you were teaching kids, you know, like it's easier to look at it like that. But adults are kids too.
Oh, yeah. And you know what's crazy with kids is that kids have no filter. So when you're going through it, kids will call you out. Hey, mister, what's wrong with you today? God damn, I got to change my face. They call you out on it, man. And you know, and I think that's a telltale sign that, you know, how you carry yourself, the energy that you bring, you know, you give off to the world. Absolutely.
Energy rules the world, man. And people can definitely tell that, right? So I think some of the things that we're going to be trying to, you know, characterize every time we get together. Listen, if you're listening to this for the first time, the 10th time somewhere down the road, We are not your gurus, okay? We are definitely going to sharpen you. You know, I can tell you that just from experience. I know Jeff, you know, running several businesses right now, and you know, our collaborative minds. Listen, we want to bring you value. We want to, you know, bring you real. I think I can say this word, shit.
There you go.
We want to bring you real shit. You know, we want to bring you real dialogue, right? Not none of this hokey pokey stuff. We're avid readers, right?
Right.
I read a lot. I know you read a lot, right? There's some books that's impacted you, and there's some books that's impacted me. But there's associations. But then there's opportunity where we can apply that. You know,
Right.
like, because that's a big difference. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's one thing just to read and do nothing about it. It's just knowledge that's within, but actually doing something with that knowledge, that changes the world.
It definitely is, right? So, like, when you meet with us, right? Every time that you know you turn on this show, this podcast, you listen, you tune in. We just want to be in your ear to say, hey, look, dude, you can do it. We're examples of, you know, transferring skill sets and doing different things because we put a certain mentality to it. You know,
Right.
you know, the world is like so imbalanced right now. You know, it's like there's essentially there's a real number of like 95 and 5%, and most people don't understand is just the mentality, because I think, and hopefully you'd agree with this, is that 90% of everything is mindset.
Oh, completely.
You know?
Yeah.
So what better to have than an alpha mentality?
Everything's mindset.
You know? So with having a mentality and, you know, the industries and the people that we're around, I think the great benefit that you guys are going to receive is that you're going to say, oh my God, Jeff's legs are sexy. No, I'm kidding. But you're going to be able to say, you know, I can relate to those guys. And, you know, we hope to connect with you and link with you in many different ways. And that's not just social media, you know, or maybe it is, or maybe it's a call. Definitely not going to be passing out my phone number, right? He's not either, but we want to connect with you guys.
My wife will kill you.
Yeah, she's
crazy.
Yeah, Crenshaw, Slauson, what's up? So I think, you know, just to kind of set it out for the first conversation, I think as we grow with you guys, you'll start to know more about us.
Yep.
So Jeff, like some things that you want to discuss, like what do you think are some things of paramount importance for us to have conversations about?
I think one thing, probably sharing some daily habits that could help people, you know.
Habits, or why are habits like really important?
Well, once you continue doing a habit, right, it's who you become.
That's
right?
true.
You start doing something over and over and over again. Now you're not thinking so much about doing it, but now it's just like, well, it just gets put into your schedule. You naturally, you feel wrong if you don't do it now because the habit's ingrained in you. So
that's very true.
Yeah.
That's very true. You know, habits, man, you know, they say if you want to change something, you got to change your habit.
Right.
You know, if you want to shock something, you have to do something different. You know, Einstein always says that, you know, definition of insanity is doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And so many people are doing the same thing, but that's another topic that we'll be discussing at some point. But, you know, what I think is really going to define us outside of the habits and the mentality is going to be the audience that we grow with, right? So Jeff, what, like, I don't know, who are we talking to like right now? I mean, I know we're talking to ourselves now and we're talking to a camera, but who are we talking to right now? Who should be listening to this when they wake up in the morning and they want to develop a better mindset and they want to, you know, find the best version of themselves and they want to, you know, maybe it's not the best person, you know, but hey, I need to be 1% better than yesterday, right? Who are we talking to?
I think you hit it right on the head, right? The people that are not satisfied, the people that are looking for, you know, just something to help. Like, you know what, that message. I mean, one of the things that you always say, right, is messages are caught, not taught.
That's true.
Right? So listening in, kind of just hoping to catch one little thing that could be like, I like that, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that those are the people that should be listening, tuning in, the people that just want more.
Yeah. There's definitely got to be a hunger for more, man.
Yeah.
I could just tell you, man, that there's just this burning desire that's deep inside, and you know what? It comes from, you know, the things that I crave most in life. You know, like my faith, my family, my two kids, my wife. We've been together 15 years. My finances, obviously. You know, we go into areas of, you know, making sure we stay physically fit and, you know, having fun. And I want to make sure that you guys understand that we're not trying to get you to just just turn on this light switch and you're going to dominate in all of these areas.
Right.
You know, it's going to be like bit by bit, you know, you're going to become better and better. And I hope that that's the way that we grow with our audience too.
It's a progression. Everything's progression.
It really is, right? So I think, you know, we took the plane off, Jeff, with having a discussion on, you know, what we're hoping to do, right? The audience who we're going to be talking to, the value that we want to bring, right? But I think the other thing that, you know, you guys will start to see is that facts tell, but stories sell. So we're going to be talking a lot about stories. We're going to be having discussions on, you know, how we can help you guys. And from time to time, we'll bring in some other people, right? But I want to land the plane here because I feel like it's just such a good, you know, way to end.
Opportunity,
you know, cool way to, you know, introduce yourself and myself. But I'm curious, any last words or anything we didn't cover you want to have a chit chat about?
Stay tuned, right? Hopefully you guys tune in. Follow us on Instagram. We'll add it to the video so you guys can see who we are. Questions, reach out to us, guys. I mean, we're very personable people.
Yeah.
You know, we're not going to be one of those people that's going to leave you on red. We'll probably answer back. So
I won't read. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. I won't. No, I'll read all of my messages as much as I can. You know, we stay busy and things like that. But, you know, if there's anything that I can say is that I want all of us to be enlightened. You know, I think that this is such an appropriate stage to be awakened. And I really, you know, another thing I just thought about is that how cool would it be for you one day to say, hey, Jeff, Otis, I started a podcast because
of you guys.
Yeah, you know,
badass.
Because there's people who inspire me, like like Gary V. You know, he's huge on that. There's another show I listen to, EYL. Shout out to those guys. Oh my God, I think Rashad and Troy, man, those guys are doing great. You guys you definitely inspired me, right? They come from my community, but I want this to be evangelical as it can be. You know, I want people to have this awakening and kind of like that butterfly effect I talked about, you know, maybe the message is we trying to teach. You don't receive it right away, but you catch it, right? So I hope that you guys can grow with us, you know, and at least it's a reach one, teach one type of, you know, feeling, you know, because somebody inspired me and somebody should inspire you, you know, at the same time, right?